What's up, witches? How we doing? How we doing? What is up? I was busy uploading some pictures for y'all. What's up, witches? Hey, Takara. Hey, Shonda. Me too, me too. What's up, everybody? Let's let a few people come into the building. And while we are doing that, please let me know how the sound is. I have the AC on because it's like weirdly warm here right now. So let me know if it's too loud. I can turn it off. Let me know. I also managed to accidentally join the live stream for tomorrow's lecture. Now I have to set that all back up. I was like, wait, what? Why does it say this is supposed to start at 5:30? What's up? Hey, Jessica. What's up? What's up, witches? You can hear all good? Okay, good. Hey, Cynthia. That's amazing. StreamYard is like, these like stream things are really good these days. What's up? All right, everything is good. Okay, cool. So, first of all, for the folks that are new around here, it's a little dark, I feel like. Hold on. Let me move my light closer. 1 second. 1 second. Let's get the vibes right. Let's get the vibes right. Okay, better. Is better. We're getting there. Okay. All right, we're there. Much better. Also, I didn't have to hold my computer, so that's good. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, good. Now, like, you can see me. I like literally could not see myself. What's up? What's up? Okay. So, for the folks that are new in the building, what's up? Welcome, witches. Welcome to High Tea Live. I am Alysha Kravetz, aka BronxWitch. I am a practitioner, a reader, a healer. I'm the CEO and founder of BronxWitch HeadQuarters, the Bronx's only metaphysical workshare space. I've been on my magical journey for 25 years, if you can believe it. Been a reader for 23 years, professionally for the last 6. And this is my YouTube channel. This is where I share as much as I can about my life as a practitioner, perhaps giving a little bit of real world context to folks who are wondering what it looks like for someone to be a witch. And what it looks like for somebody to practice magic and divination for others. And perhaps what it looks like to be a teacher and a coach, as that is something that over the last few years has been given to me as well. So I share insights into my life, my practice, behind the scenes. I go live as frequently as I can while running my business. I'd like to go live and make more videos. I think that's going to be happening because of some changes that I've made with the shop and some realizations that I've had about the value of my time and where I should be spending my time. And for the last 2 years, I've been growing my shop, which is half retail and half workshare space. And lately, I've been realizing that what this community needs more than products is education and guidance and community. And that's something that I've always been offering, but it's been in tandem with retail and other things. And so I'm really pulling back from the retail to really focus on where I believe I'm best serving the community and where my purpose lies, which is to help witches, especially baby witches, to become better witches. And that's what I'm all about. High Tea Live is my monthly Q&A session. It's an opportunity for us to come together and for you to ask questions about magic, about spirituality, and for me to do my best to answer them. If you wanted to ask more personal questions about your life and your journey, then the best way to do that is to set up a consultation with me. Consultations are only $25, and the beauty of a consultation is that $25 gets credited to the next thing that you do with me if in the consultation we decide that a class or a reading or a session of some kind would benefit you. So it's pretty much no risk. So if you have personal questions and personal things that you want to talk about with me one-on-one, then a consultation is the best way to start. If you're looking to get education from me, I have an entire online portal that I run through my shop with classes on everything from meditation to herbal medicine, crystal healing. And that's a really beautiful space because it's not just me teaching in that space. We also have guest instructors, our online portal administrator, Alexis, former shop witch, our coven moderator, Nuri, are all up in that space. So you get to learn not just from me, but from other witches that come through. So that's where you'll find all of my classes. I offer a 6-month program called the BetterWitch Magic Intensive that I offer twice a year, fall and spring semester. Shout out to the fall semester Better Witches that are in the building, and shout out to the graduates from the spring semester that are in the building. Really excited to be on this journey with the fall semester that just started. And if you're interested in potentially being a student in the spring semester, you can find more information about that in the online portal. And all these things are linked down below. So those are ways that you can work with me and learn from me. And of course, I'm available for readings and Reiki sessions as well. All of that is linked in the description box, or you can go to my website, BronxWitch.com, and click on the Connect with Ali section. And that'll take you to everything that you need. High Tea is one of the exclusive lives that I offer to our Coven community, which is another part of the online portal. And if you're tuning in on YouTube, that is a courtesy that I extend to you all, a freebie that I extend to you all. But you might notice that I'm not necessarily seeing all of your comments. You might notice that your comments are not coming up on the screen. That is because that is an exclusive perk for my Coven witches. So if you want to get into the stream room, if you want to make sure that I see your comments and questions, if you want to see your comments and questions up on the screen, if you want to be able to talk to the other witches that are in the Coven, then you are going to want to join the Coven, which you can do completely for free for the first 7 days. And the link to that is down below as well. Once you're in the Coven, just click on the events tab and you'll see all of the exclusive live streams that are available just for you. So when we come together for High Tea, you're able to ask me any questions really about magic or spirituality that you'd like. But in order to keep us kind of on track and to keep me from answering the same questions over and over, we usually have a topic that we focus on. And today's topic is reconnecting with Christ as a witch. The topics that I talk about usually pull right out of my, real life, what I'm going through, things I'm learning, things I'm teaching, and that I want to share with you guys. And this one is a surprise to me. So if it's a surprise to you, you're not alone. I am also surprised that I am talking about this topic for a whole host of reasons that I'll get into. What's up, Nisi? But yeah, this is an interesting one, an unexpected and interesting one. and a hugely transformative one. And it's so funny how things work, because when I decided that my first lecture, which I'm delivering at HQ tomorrow night as a part of the new Witch Talk series that we are offering at the shop, that was 2 months ago that I decided to talk about overcoming religious trauma. And I had no idea that it was going to line up so perfectly with what was going on in my own life. I was just inspired by some conversations that I had had with some witches at the shop. And I thought, you know what, this is really something we need to talk about. And while talking about it with Alexis, it made me realize that, and she brought up that, religious trauma lies at the heart of, or is like a really big factor to the witch wound. And so that's why last live, Alexis was on as a special guest, and we talked about the witch wound, something that many of us who are witches carry. If you feel uncomfortable saying the word witch, if you feel uncomfortable identifying as a witch, even though the practices that you engage in are witchy practices, you probably are being, carrying a witch wound. You're dealing with previous experiences, either ancestrally or maybe even past lives, where you were prosecuted, persecuted for being a witch. And so now, despite the freedom that we might have if we're living in the West and in this day and age, you might still have a lot of fear, a lot of hesitance about it. So we talked about that, and it just never really occurred to me that I would be confronting my own religious trauma, because I started my journey when I was 12 years old. I am 38 now. I left the church when I was like 16. As soon as I was old enough to get my mother to stop making me go, I stopped going. And I really felt like I didn't really have so much religious trauma. I really felt like I would be delivering this lecture from a place of like, I am healed from that. Let me tell you how you can do it too. I did not think that I would be delivering this lecture from a place of, I am dealing with and uncovering and healing my religious trauma now. Let me tell you what I'm going through and what I've learned. Because, 25, 26 years, you think you've gotten over something. You think you've moved on from something. And not the case. Not the case. Some huge breakthroughs have happened for me in the last couple of months. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. And if you too are dealing with religious trauma, if you too felt like or feel like you cannot engage in prayer, you cannot read your Bible, you cannot go to church or synagogue or mosque because of your interest in witchcraft, be a part of this conversation, and let's navigate this together. Let's heal this together, because I think that's something that a lot of us deal with. Okay. Speaking of, that's a perfect segue, Cynthia. We call this high tea because when I first started this, I would usually enjoy some cannabis while we would hang out and talk about magic. I don't smoke cannabis regularly at the present moment in my life. So that has changed. So this is really a space, not just for those who enjoy cannabis, but for those who connect with herbs in any way. And I just haven't changed the name from high tea because I like it. So now it's more about, high society tea. So that being said, go ahead and drop down below what herbs you are enjoying if you are. If you are enjoying some smokable herbs, please share with the class. If you are drinking some tea, please let us know what. I am burning my usual rosemary, which I keep by my bed. You witches know I love me some rosemary. I call her my grandmother herb. And I'll just smudge the vibes for everybody. I keep rosemary by my bed, by the way, and burn a piece every night before I go to sleep, because rosemary is so wonderful, speaking of migraines, for anything going on with your head. So she makes a wonderful headache medicine. It's why I include her in my banging my head headache relief tea. So she can clear up headaches. If you use her in the right dosages, too much will actually cause headaches. If you wash your hair with a rosemary wash, like you could create like a extraction of rosemary, it can help to color your grays. And she's also really great for memory. So you can make a rosemary medicine, a rosemary tincture, rosemary supplements, or you can just burn her. So I like to burn her right before bed to help me to remember my dreams. You'd love some recommendations on euphoric items that are not cannabis derived. So my smoke blend liftoff is made with 3 different herbs that can create a sense of euphoria. And I actually created liftoff as my first blend when I was trying to quit cannabis during COVID. And I wanted something that would spark visions, spark a meditative state, kind of shift my consciousness, but that wasn't perhaps as habit forming or as addictive as cannabis was. So mullein is the base of almost all of my smokes because of its tendency to be a tonic for the lungs, and a cleanser for the lungs. But the other 3 ingredients are euphoric. So blue lotus, mugwort, and a Mexican herb called Calia zacatichichi, which is a mouthful, and she's called dream herb, but the Latin name is Calia zacatichichi. So all 3 of those herbs we actually have at the shop. Tomorrow, I know you're coming to the lecture, and I'm going to be letting people shop from the remaining inventory in the back before I put whatever is left online next week. And we have quite a bit of all 3 except for Blue Lotus. Somebody bought me out of the Blue Lotus. But we have quite a bit of mugwort and Calia zacatichichi. And for you, Takara, if you really don't smoke, you really don't imbibe lots of, euphoric or consciousness shifting herbs, I would recommend the mugwort. And I would recommend that you just take her as a tea with lots of honey because she's a little bit bitter. Shonda said the hardest thing you have is Coca-Cola. Fair. Love it. Love Copal so much. Fiora set for your migraines. I'm not familiar. I will tell you this about my banging my head tea. One of my most glowing testimonials is of a woman whose son was 11 years old, and he was suffering from something called cluster headaches. I don't know if you've ever heard of this before. I had not. But he suffers from cluster headaches. And because he's 11, the doctors would not prescribe him anything aggressive. But she basically said that anytime he would get headaches, they would be so bad that he would throw up and basically just have to cry himself to sleep. And she purchased my banging my head tea and brewed a cup of it, and like with very little water, she made like a very strong concentration of it and chilled it into ice cubes and gave that to him. And after he finished one, she said it was the first time he'd ever had a headache and been able to fall asleep without throwing up, without crying. And she's been a regular customer of that tea ever since. So I can't say with certainty, Cynthia, that it would clear up your headaches. And obviously if you've been prescribed something by your doctors, you and your doctor know best. But you might consider it. You might give it a try. Yeah, that testimonial made me cry when she sent me that letter because, I'm an empath. So as I was reading her words, I felt the intensity of the relief that she felt for her child. I don't have children, so I can't imagine what it is like for a parent to see their child in such agonizing pain. And her too. She said she takes it for her headaches. So she also has bad headaches. But to see your child going through that type of pain, and then finding something that could relieve it, I could feel her relief, and that made me cry. And, that was definitely one of those moments where I was like, okay, no matter how busy I get, no matter what, I'm going to keep making my teas, because if one person, that's suffering that badly can get that type of relief, and a child at that, then I have to keep doing it. So even though I've shut down the retail of the shop, and even though all of the crystals and, bells and incense and all the various things that we have sold are going away, because of that testimonial, I am going to continue making my magic. I'm going to continue making my teas, my candles, and things like that. So I won't be selling any more commercial products after everything sells out. The things that you can get in other places, I won't be selling those anymore. But the things you can't get in other places, the things that I make, I will continue to make them, because just knowing that, I feel like I have to. Oh yeah, the infused wine was really awesome. Turned out really well. I feel like I put the recipe in the Coven feed. Let me know if I didn't. I should make that into a digital download for you guys so you can download the recipe. Yeah, I'm going to be turning a bunch of stuff that I've posted in the Coven, a bunch of my spells and recipes, into digital downloads so that they live on the portal. Because I realized they're in the spell section in the Coven, but that's a feed. So like you have to scroll back to find it. I think you can search the words and it'll come up, but I'm going to put them into PDF form. And if you are a Coven member, at either level, you get digital downloads for free. So you'll be able to download them. Yeah, but definitely stock up. We have it. I've got all the different ingredients of Liftoff, but I also have Liftoff, which, by the way, you don't have to smoke. You could burn it over some charcoal. You could even light a pre-roll and just wave it around like an incense stick. For sure. But we'll talk about it when you're there tomorrow. I figured people were going to shop, so after the lecture at 6, the lecture is going to end at about 6:30, and then we're going to have time to mingle. So people that want to pop in the back and like buy what I have left, you guys will be able to shop. It's in the Coven feed. Good. Yeah, but I'm going to turn it into a download because I want the whole world to be able to get it. That wine turned out really great. Yeah, you got to try my tea, Monica. They'll be available at the shop for people who come in for reservations and stuff like that, and events. They'll be available in the shop. They'll be available online as well. Thank you, Takara. Yeah. You can't order on the site right now, but you can definitely look at all the descriptions and see what you like. If you're coming to the lecture tomorrow, most of them are available. We restocked. But if not, don't worry. On like Wednesday, I'm going to be able to finally sit down, recount all of the inventory that's left, open the shop back up online, make sure all the numbers are accurate. I don't want anybody ordering something and then it turns out I'm sold out. I don't like disappointing people. So I just want to clean it up, make sure it's all good, and then shopping will resume. And then the beauty of me no longer having a full retail in person and online is that I'm not going to be sold out as much as I used to. I'm going to be able to like make tea, make candles. Y'all be buying me out of my Abre candles. Child, I cannot keep Abre on the shelves. But now I'm going to have the time to restock and make more candles like when I need to. And I'll be able to ask Nuri to help me with that because we won't have crystals and incense and books and all these other things. So we'll be able to focus on the magic. So I'm excited about that too. Hey. Thank you, Heather. Yes, my Abre candle. And it's so funny too, because it's a road opener. It literally opens the roads for itself. Like we make them, and I'd be like about to put it on the shelf, and then like Heather walks in and she's like, I'll take that. Thank you very much. And it's out the door. Like I cannot keep Abre on the shelf. So, but now I'm going to be able to, you're not going to have to wait 2-3 weeks for me to restock. I'll be able to sit down and ritualize and pray and make candles as much as I want now. Like the freedom that I'm going to have to be able to actually serve you guys now, like my mind is so blown with the idea of it. I'm like beside myself. Like after this week, after I'm done with the full renovation of the shop and I'm not like building furniture and cleaning things up, it is going to be so amazing. It is going to be so amazing. Yep, I'll still be making my pre-rolls, all the things that I make, my incense, my herbal blends. So that's my teas, my smokes, my yoni steams, and my just candles. Those will all be available on the website, and they will be sold out less frequently. So I'm super excited about that. All right, shall we get into it? Yeah. And shout out to the owners of Yolia Botanica in, oh my God, is it New Mexico or Arizona? They in the desert. Well, we got some Mesoamerican brujas in the desert, New Mexico or Arizona, that have a shop called Yolia Botanica. They are one of my wholesale clients. So they buy my candles for their Botanica. And it was them that asked me to make Abre. They were like, many of our Spanish speaking clients are asking for a road opener candle. And I was like, I got you. I work with Abre Camino pretty much extensively and exclusively for my road opening work. It does the job. I really don't even need to mix her with other herbs. Unless there's like something in particular going on. I'm very familiar with Abre Camino. They have it here at the Botanicas here. Those practitioners work with it extensively as well. So I just feel really comfortable with that plant. I have a ton of it. And so I was like, yeah, you know what? And what I was going through at the time, it was perfect because I was just posting my go-to road opening spell in the coven. I was like, oh, what are the chances? So that is what prompted me to make that candle. So shout out to the owners of Yolia Botanica, Guadalupe and her partner, who inspired the creation of it. Hola, June. Welcome. Abre would be a great one for that. Abre would be a great one for that. And if I were you, since you're in the coven, I would scroll back through the spell section and find my road opener spell if you don't already have it. And I would pair the two. So rather than doing the green candle in the apple, I would maybe, or you could do both. You could do the green candle and light that on the side. Actually, I might pair it up. I would pair the spell with the candle and I would cast that spell on the first few days, and then I would let the 7-day candle just keep burning to keep the energy going while I was sending out applications, while I was going on interviews, sending out my resume, all that stuff. That's what I would do with that. Nice. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. That's what magic is for. It's a tool to help us, to make our lives better, to help us navigate life. And God has given us these things. God has given us these herbs, has given us these waters, has given us this medicine all around us, and given us the wisdom and the intuitiveness to be able to use them if we would only listen. So yeah, same for you, Heather. Pair the two together and then report back in the coven, in the spell section, how it goes. Yay. Opening the roads to dream work. Oh, that's something I hadn't even thought of using it for. June is so creative. Love that. So speaking of God, shall we talk about God a little bit? Shall we do a little talking about God? And shall we talk about Jesus, the Lord, Jesus Christ? Shocking, I know. Not a topic I would have guessed that I would be talking about. Not that I avoid those topics. I don't think I ever have, but I just don't think that I have allowed Jesus to have any type of significant role in my life because of religious trauma that, like I said, I didn't even think I was carrying because I've been a witch for so long. And because I left the church so long ago, I was like, I'm fine. Like, it's all good. Jesus, God, all good. All good. Yes, let the church say amen. So I'll tell you, two things kind of happened all at once. There were a couple of things that happened, conversations had, things said related to God or related to Jesus that made me uncomfortable, that I realized, wait a minute, this is triggering me. And yes, I'm aware. Yes. This is triggering me. And if I were really healed from these things, then I would not be triggered by them. So what's that all about? The other thing that kind of collided with that has been the journey I've been taking with Black Hermit. So I will not recap the story of Black Hermit. Oh my God. And I always say I'm not going to recap the story of Black Hermit, and then I kind of do. But please, everybody in the room has heard it a million times. So if you don't know who Black Hermit is, please search my channel, Black Hermit, watch some of the previous lives, go on our online portal and download the Black Hermit class. It's completely free. Google him, YouTube him, educate yourself on who Black Hermit is. But he has become a very important figure in my life and an important figure at the shop, as he's become something of a patron saint for me and the shop as well. As an African American, an entertainer, a hoodoo practitioner, conjurman, root worker, I feel an incredible kindred spirit with him. And being asked to obtain the dirt from his graveyard was an incredible thing for me because I didn't know who he was before my hoodoo teacher asked me to do this. And the fact that we are raising money in this really creative way for a proper headstone for him feels like such a huge honor, which, by the way, only 4 Black Hermit candles are left. And yeah, it feels like such a huge honor. And the way that he's been showing up for me, and not just me, but for many of the other witches, whether they're in the coven or not, it's just, I don't necessarily know the stories of people who are not in the coven, but for the coven witches, because we have a section in the coven just for talking about Black Hermit, and people have been sharing their experiences, I know that I am not the only one that has been having some really profound experiences from working with him. And I think that as witches, learning about conjuration of spirit, learning how to call forward the spirits that we want to talk to, whether it's ancestors, angels, etc., are is something that we all would like to be able to do, and don't necessarily have like the most clear results, right? Because spirit does not speak in language, it speaks in signs, symbols, and synchronicities. So when we conjure spirits, we usually just have a feeling, there's a sensation, maybe we see certain symbols, maybe we see certain animals, but we usually have to kind of extrapolate from what's going on in our bodies or around us that we were successful and that that spirit is in fact with us. We don't often have them like materialize right in front of us. They're not necessarily suddenly visible to the human eye. We don't necessarily hear their voices unless we have very sensitive clairvoyancy, claircognizance, clairaudient skills, which, by the way, if you are a coven witch, go check out the past event that happened last night, Alexis's Moonlit Metaphysics, where she broke down the clairs, and how to like identify that you have them and things like that. Very helpful. Live stream. So yeah, so Black Herman though is different. So I wouldn't say that you should try to work with him only for this reason, because I do think that, you should really sit with your guides, sit with your ancestors, sit with yourself, and really feel if calling on a particular spirit, developing a relationship with a particular spirit is really for you before you do it. But if you do feel called to work with Black Herman and you have wanted to call on a spirit that really shows up in like almost freakishly visible ways, this would be the one to call on. Okay, because when I tell you like is wild. Okay, is wild. He is a very like vocal, strong presence. The first night that I brought my first candle home, I've lit 3 candles for him for various reasons. But I started off the way I usually start when I want to work with a new spirit or something, is I go to my ancestors and my guides first. And I say, hey, how do we feel about this? What can you tell me about this energy? Is this necessary? Could I do this in a different way? Is there something for me to gain from this relationship? So I brought home my first Black Herman candle and presented it at my ancestor altar and said, everyone, this is Black Herman. I would like to work with this spirit. I feel called to do so. I obtained the dirt that's in this conjure powder, in this candle. Let me know what you think about that. So I put the candle on my ancestor altar and I lit it. And I laid on the couch in front of the candle because I call it nursing my spell work or nursing my rituals. Like, also it's a safety thing. I try not to leave candles unattended, especially if they're not in a lantern, because I have lanterns. So if there's a candle that's not in a lantern, I will keep an eye on it. And I just felt really called to sit and sleep in front of this one. And if you don't have Black Herman's grimoire, half of the book is dedicated to dream interpretation. And that tells me this is something that he considered to be a specialty of his. And it's not surprising to me how readily he shows up in people's dreams. But so I lit the candle and I start to doze off. And I'm looking at my window and I see a face in one of my plants. And I instantly knew it was him. And I was like, all right, what you're not fitting to do is scare the shit out of me right now. You're not fitting to do that. I'm trying to go to sleep. And what I don't want to do is wake up in the middle of the night, see that face in the plant and freak out. So I'm going to close my curtains and cover up this plant. Okay. I feel your presence, but I'm not trying to get scared. So let me cover up this plant. Because I told y'all I'd be asking for clairvoyance, but I'm really capped. So I closed the curtains. I can still see the imprint in the curtains though, and I'm like, but that's fine. That's good enough. I finally drift off to sleep, and I get woken up several times in the middle of the night because I can feel him moving around my living room so strongly that I got woken up out of my sleep because I could hear someone walking around. Twice this happened. The first time, he was over by the altar, and I, like, in my dreams, what it sounded like was somebody was standing next to the altar and was like looking at it and like touching things. And so I like woke up and was like, and I couldn't see anything with my human eyes, but I could still feel the energy standing over there. And I was like, okay, this man is for real in this living room right now. And he's looking over at the altar where I've lit this candle. And that felt like a really good sign for me that my ancestors were cool with it, because he was just, usually people do not want to go over to that altar just naturally, because they keep them at bay. And for him to just be like all up in it, I was like, okay, we're communing, we're hanging out. All right, cool. So I drift back off to sleep. And then it happens again. And this time he's over at my prayer altar, which is where I talk to my guides. And I'm like, okay, you making the rounds, you introducing yourself, you saying hello. All right, cool. I fall back to sleep. I sleep for the most of the night. And then just before I wake up, clear as day, he pops up in my dreams. Looking me in my face, he's fairly tall, and he's looking down at me, and he doesn't say anything. He just takes me by the shoulders and turns me around real fast and pushes me in the middle of my back out. And what he pushes me through is curtains. And when the curtains part, I am on a stage that looks very similar to like the Apollo stage, an old school big theater filled with people and with lights around the stage. And then I woke up. And I am not a dreamer. I'm not a particularly sensitive person to dreams. I usually have to light herbs and play certain sounds and do certain rituals or talk to my guides and do certain things in order to inspire dreams. For many, many, many years, I smoked cannabis on a regular basis. And if you are somebody that does not dream and you smoke cannabis every day, I am so sorry to tell you, but that is probably why. So for like 10 years, I did not dream at all. And even now, my dreams have returned now that I no longer smoke cannabis, but it's not like how some people have like movies that play out in their dreams every night. That's not me. So this was like a movie. This was unbelievably clear, and unlike the dreams that I normally have. And then, of course, the fact that I could hear him walking around in my apartment. So he's an incredibly present spirit. And the things that have been happening ever since have been wild. The things he's been telling me and the things that I've been doing and that have been happening to me as a result of listening, and that have not been happening to me as a result of being stubborn and not listening and fucking up. If you're on my mailing list, you already know about that story. Because I'm not perfect, and sometimes spirit tells me to do stuff and I don't listen, and then I'm mad, which is what happened the other day. But you live and you learn. But the things that I have been obedient and listening to have been paying off immensely with some incredible results. And I was reading his grimoire the day that I was on the way to go find his house. His house is in Harlem. He put the address of the house in his grimoire, and I was really curious to see if it was still there. Something told me to go find it, and I did. It is still there. And it was a really beautiful experience. And of course, because I'm going on this journey, I was like, well, I'm going to take his grimoire and I'm going to read it on the train while I go, because like that seems perfect. And I'll sit on the stoop at the house and I'll read a little bit of it and, you know, really connect with him. And when I got to the end of the beginning of the story of his life, it talks about how he was saved, gave his life to Christ, and was a devout Christian for all of his life. And something about that really triggered me. It made me really uncomfortable. And it made me really uncomfortable about working with him. And I felt like, really? mm. And I was like, ugh. I didn't know fully or like really understand fully at the time, like what my aversion to that was, but it really just, it kind of like rubbed me the wrong way for some reason. It was like a part of him and his story that I wanted to like ignore and not think about, because I was feeling so similar to him. I'm reading his story and I'm retracing his footsteps, and I have similar aspirations to the things that he accomplished. He was a great entertainer, and he was a household name, and he was an incredibly shrewd business person, and he gave so many Black people opportunities, and provided for them financially. He had 50 people, 30 full-time, 20 part-time, or the other way around, people on his employment roster when he died, all Black people. You know, like he was out here giving Black people jobs. He had a publishing house. He was publishing the writings of other practitioners, other Black people. And that is so in alignment of the things that I want to do for the world, now 100 years later. And I really felt like, oh, like, this is my guy. Like, I get this guy. Like, this is my guy, you know? And then I got to that part and I was like, maybe it's not my guy. I don't know about that. Because as much as I might read prayers from the Bible and Psalms from the Bible, as much as I have like a respect for Christ and all of that, and appreciate the messages that he brought to the world, I feel like I want to keep that over there. Like, the Bible and Jesus are not for me. So that was the first thing that made me feel like, oh. Then a really good friend of mine, something happened where he had a dream about me. And in the dream, I was there, but so was one of my guides. And I happen to have a picture of that guide on my prayer altar. So when he was describing it in the dream, he was like, you were in the dream. I had this dream about you. And there was this older Black man. We were in South Carolina. I couldn't put a finger on what like era it was, but he was just like this, and he was doing this, and he was showing me how to do this, and da-da-da. And I was like, oh, I know who that is. That's my guide. And I went to my altar, I took a picture of that picture, and I emailed it to him. And he was like, that's who I saw in my dream. And I was like, I know. When you were describing, I knew exactly who you were talking about. But he was so blown away by this. Because I mean, that's just a complete confirmation of something. Like, he was so blown away by this. He was like, oh my God, this is crazy. That's crazy. And I said, spirit is amazing, isn't it? Like, isn't spirit amazing? And he wrote back, because he's a Christian, and he wrote back and he said, yes, God is amazing. And that annoyed the shit out of me. That annoyed me so much, because I knew that he was like correcting me. And I was like, ew, you know? So stuff like this has been happening. These moments where I've been getting triggered by the use of the word God, or the idea of somebody being a devotee, as I would call it, of Jesus and things like this, or church and stuff. And I'm just like, what is that about? And I started to sit with it and realize that I don't think I overcame my religious trauma so much as I just walked away from it. You know, I kind of just pushed it to the side and said, well, I don't need to deal with it because it doesn't affect me. You know, like, it's not stopping me from being a witch. It's not stopping me from learning about the craft. It's not stopping me from doing anything spiritual or magical. So I guess I sort of felt like, well, because it's not stopping me, or so I thought, I didn't really need to do anything about it. You know, I didn't need to face it. I didn't need to address it. And I realized that I do. And what has helped me to see that has been Black Hermit. He has been bringing to me opportunities for me to like be confronted by my own trauma and realize that because of the way the church treated me as a child, the things that I saw that did not sit well with me, the things that I've experienced as I've gotten older, and the pure hatred, aggression, and vitriol that I've experienced on the internet and in person from Christians, that has really left me with a wound around God, the Bible, Jesus, and church. And that I have been associating God, the Bible, Jesus, and even church with Christians, the human beings that carry that title. And the two are not the same. I've been conflating those things. And I have been allowing the pain, the discomfort, the anger that I feel about Christians and the things they say and do to me and to others to keep me away from God, the Bible, Jesus, and even church. And now that I see that has been what's been happening, I've been almost being like pushing the Christians out of the way and being like, wait a minute. You motherfuckers are keeping me away from something juicy. Like, you guys are keeping me away from something really good. Your interpretation of shit is fucked. And the way you handle shit is fucked. And because I'm paying attention to how y'all get down, it has been driving me away from something that could really be making a hugely positive impact in my life and could be a part of my practice that would only add to it. You know, it's like making, I don't know why I just thought about sancocho. Are there a bunch of Dominicans in here? This just made me think about sancocho. For some reason, that was my example. But it's like making sancocho and like leaving out the chicken because, you know, or the corn because somebody else poisoned the corn one day or something like that, you know, or told you that corn was poison. Or that somebody, actually the analogy is it's like making your sancocho with no corn because somebody gave you bad corn one time. That's what it's like. Colombians have sancocho too? Okay, so we just have like a strong Latin representation in the room or something, because for whatever reason, that was the first thing that occurred to me. But it's like making sancocho with also, like, we're about to be in sancocho season, I think. So it's like making the sancocho with no corn because somebody gave you poison corn one time. That, I think, is what is happening. I have been approaching my spiritual and magical life, my life, without this ingredient that could be making it delicious, even more delicious than it already is, because some people gave me a bad batch of that ingredient. And what I haven't been recognizing is that it's not the ingredient that's the problem. It's the people that gave me the bad batch. That they're poisoning the corn, and I don't have to work with their corn. But that if I push them to the side and go get my own, that I can use the one that I get for myself and turn an already good recipe into its ultimate manifestation. And so that is not to say that I think that in order to be a powerful witch, in order to have a vibrant spiritual life or anything like that, that you need to incorporate Jesus and the church and the Bible or any of these things into what you've got going on. For me, I'm just realizing that the brand of witchcraft that I have been practicing for the last 20 something years is very good. Because sancocho without corn is still very good. It's got like 25 other ingredients. It's mad good. But this is one more thing that could take it to the next level that I have been turned off by because I got a bad batch of it. And I keep getting bad batches of it because there's Christians walking around with barrels of corn saying this is what corn should be and trying to shove it down my throat. Did you mean to say ex-blackly? Because if you did, I am going to be copying that. Your grandma made some today. Oh my God. Can I have some? Can I have some? That's one of the few things that as a vegan, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I could be vegan all day. You make some sancocho, you better give me a bowl. You better give me a bowl. And I want everything in it. I want the meat. I want the beef. I want whatever you put in it. Okay? I'm not vegan today. I'm not vegan on sancocho day. No, I'm not. Would you consider that you need this healing portion of your journey in order to elevate to? Yes. Yes, absolutely, I do. Yes, absolutely, I do. And that's the motivating factor for why I'm even entertaining it. Because I don't think in the past I really needed it for the levels of my life that I was at, but the levels that I am evolving into right now, Spirit has made it clear I do, in fact, need it. And I made it very clear to God. I've literally called out to God and said, I am willing to do whatever it takes. This is the life I want. Whether it's getting rid of people, changing my behaviors, whatever it is, I am willing to do it because I've been working my ass off to lay the foundation for the me I want to be and the life that I want to have. And I'd be damned if I don't get there because of whatever, because of anything. It just doesn't make any sense. Like imagine running for miles and miles and miles every day and then getting to the end of the day and eating pizza and ice cream and all of that stuff. Like, what the hell am I doing all this running for if I'm just going to turn around and shoot myself in the foot because I don't want to listen, because I have an aversion to something, etc. Right? I'm not going to do that. And so they've made it clear that I need that. Okay, exactly. Yes, exactly. Great question, Heather. And yes. So why do I need it? This is what came to me in, I won't call it a dream. I don't think I was asleep. I think I was just in meditation and in trance. This was during my prayers in the morning. And sometimes if I don't get enough sleep, I'm going to keep it real with you. I'll fall asleep during my morning meditation. I'll be sitting at my prayer altar meditating, and the next thing you know, I'm like, okay, okay, because listen, I'm human. Oh, yes. I'm gonna have like 5 people show up with sun culture at the shop now. That's okay. I'll freeze it. I don't care. I yes, 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 yes. Anyone's Latin mom or grandma makes sancocho, I will take a Tupperware. Yes, please. I love soup in the summer. I'm a soup person. I love soup, and I think I make really good soup. Right? Why? Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? That's a black people thing too. My mom would make like the hottest dishes in the summertime and the stuff that takes like 8 hours to cook. And everybody would just be in the house, like in the one room with the AC. Cause like, why is the kitchen literally 97 degrees right now? So guys, that tell me when to show up. Yeah. Oh, I should share my vegan recipes. Um, some of my vegan recipes. But honestly, my vegan recipes are me making traditional dishes just without the meat and finding ways to like replace those flavors, whether I'm using bouillon or bone broth or whatever. And I know that a lot of vegans would be like, that's not vegan. But I didn't ask. Okay. Um, so to Heather's point, as I want to share this with you guys. Um, this is what came through in my meditation. And it came through as a result of me asking a question. You know, we scroll on the internet, we be on the gram or whatever. And the content that I follow on the gram is very intentional. I follow some friends and family to keep in touch or what have you. But for the most part, the things that I actually take the time to follow are in alignment with the life that I'm creating for myself and with my purpose and my mission. So I actually don't follow a lot of other witches from my personal page. I follow them from the shop because, you know, community. But from my personal page, I really try to follow the things that I want to feed me and that are in alignment with what I'm trying to do. And I'm not necessarily trying to do what the next witch is doing, even though I might love what they're doing and want them to be a part of the network, want them to teach to the community, you know, whatever. But I like to fill my feed up with Black women entrepreneurs. If you're a Black woman entrepreneur and you come across my explore page, it's like an automatic follow. Black women entrepreneurs, content creators that make content that is um, uh, really useful. So it might be educational types of posts. It might be spiritual enlightenment types of posts. It might be political, social justice awareness types of posts. It might be news. I follow a lot of like international, non-mainstream news outlets to get like as unbiased news as I can. I follow some financial pages in order to learn more about finance and to learn more about money and business because I don't come from that background. I didn't grow up in a household with, you know, business owners or people that are financially literate. So I follow things in order to gain that type of traction. And it felt like, and I don't know if Spirit was just having me pay attention to this or if this is a reality, but it just seemed like every time I would click on the page of a person that motivated me, that inspired me, and that was doing with their lives what I am doing with my life and doing it at a level that I aspire to reach, I would click on their page and there they were with a big old cross on, or Bible verses in their bio, a dedication to God, God first, God is first in my life. These messages that for so long I associated with Christianity and the Christians and their poisoned corn. And so someone would say something like, I put God first in my life, and that's why my business is doing so well. And I would hear that and I'd be like, bleh. Because when I hear I put God first in my life, I hear Christians and their gross propaganda and their judgment and their death threats against me on my YouTube channel and their fucking, Bible verses down my throat that no one asked for, and all of the bad things that I've experienced with Christians. I would hear somebody say something like, I put God first in my life, and I'd be like, ew, gross, get that away from me. I don't want to follow this person anymore. Even though they're living a life that looks like, at least from the internet, what I want to create for myself. They're serving their purpose. They're serving their community. They're doing what they are supposed to be doing and they're being rewarded for it. They're abundant for it. They're making a lot of money for it. They've got a large profile for it. There's all these things about them that I want to align myself with and that I also want in my own life. And I'm not following them because they said something like, I put God first. And I'm associating that with the poison corn. I'm associating that with the Christian fanatics and the weirdos and the hateful individuals that call themselves Christians that are in my comments and in my face and all that, and potentially missing out on so many lessons, so much information, perhaps even collaboration or alignment with them, right? Just the other day, I was on Threads and somebody posted that they were looking for Black women entrepreneurs to come on their podcast. Okay. And I love that we make it by the cauldron. Yes. The pushers of the poison corn, the poison corn pushers of the world. There was somebody who posted that they were looking for Black women entrepreneurs to collaborate with and to be on their podcast. And I was like, oh, cool. So I responded and I was like, hey, Black woman entrepreneur here, grew my business from nothing to 6 figures in 3 years, did it by myself while going through a divorce. I think I could share a lot of gems with your audience. And she wrote back and was like, yeah, I am a believer of Christ, a follower of Christ, and most of my audience is as well. Meanwhile, the page doesn't say anything about it. The name doesn't say anything about it. She didn't say anything about that. I'm a follower of Christ, poison corn pusher. I'm a follower of Christ, and so is my audience. And the whole like witchcraft thing, I think, is just like not in alignment. And I was like, I'm sorry, I thought you were looking for Black women entrepreneurs. And she's like, yeah, but your business is like related to like, witchcraft. So like, I don't think it's a good fit. And I was like, okay, bitch, well, you should maybe say that you are only interested in Christian Black women entrepreneurs. And she responds back and is like, no, you don't have to be a Christian. We've had plenty of people that are not Christians on our platform. It's just a witchcraft thing. And I was like, oh, okay, well, thank you for clarifying that it's literally just me. So if I were Jewish or Muslim or any other religion, or I had any other practice, that would be fine. But simply because I've chosen a different path to God, I can't come on your stupid fucking podcast, you and your 640 followers. Okay, fine. No worries. Whatever. Suck my dick. But it's that shit that I get all the time. I've had video editors not want to edit my YouTube videos. I've had all kinds of like discrimination from people because of who I am and what I practice. And most of them Christians, as they claim, poison corn pushers. And it really turns me off. And it's traumatizing. It's traumatizing. As much as I respond in like a fuck you kind of way, it's hurtful. It hurts really, really deeply to know that you are a good person, to know that you operate from a space of love, to know that the work that you do helps people and have people treat you like you are some evil thing that shouldn't be touched because you have chosen a different path to God. It hurts. It is traumatizing. That is religious trauma. And because of that, I noticed that in the following weeks, I wasn't responding to other requests. I saw other posts that were like, oh, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a content creator, let's collab. And I would go to the person's profile and I would see a Bible verse in their bio and I just wouldn't even bother. I just wouldn't even bother. And I caught myself after a couple of weeks doing that, realizing, yeah, you know what? There's a really good chance that this person with the Bible passage is also a poison corn pusher, and that they too are going to be nasty towards me, are not going to work with me, whatever. But they might not be. They might not be. And my trauma over the way Christians have treated me has made me see or hear anything related to God, Jesus, or the Bible and immediately be like, no, I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to be outcasted. I don't want to be made to feel like something's wrong with me. So I just want to stay clear of that. And I started noticing, though, that so many of the people that are successful in the ways in which I want to be successful align themselves with God and with Christ and the Bible. And I was like, this fucking sucks. Like, I'm starting to see a pattern here. And I'm starting to realize that I don't necessarily see a lot of witches with the level of success and the type of success that I am cultivating in my life. Holy shit. Is there something I'm not on? Like, am I going to have to like become a Christian to be successful? You know, like, what is this all about? What is happening? And I started to get really nervous that like, oh man, what if practicing the craft is some kind of sin against God and I'm doing the wrong thing? And that's why I haven't seen the success I want yet. And maybe if I like declared myself a Christian, all of a sudden that would change. I started to like freak out a little bit. And, you know, I'm sitting with that thought and I'm sitting at my prayer altar and I'm crying and I'm confused and I'm like, please don't tell me that. Like, what is this? Like, so much in my life is good because of my craft, because of the path to God that I am on. You cannot be telling me now that I got to jump ship and change course. Like, what is the message? Please clarify this message because I'm starting to actually have a little bit of an identity crisis, a personal crisis. So that is about the time that I decided to step away from my Instagram page, aside from the fact that social media is work and it's exhausting. I also just felt like, wait a minute, you know, like, I told God I am willing to give up everything and anything to have the life that I came here to have, to walk in my purpose and to have the level of success that I know I came here to experience. If that means I have to give up BronxWitch, then that means I have to give up BronxWitch. I'm going to need to sit with that for a minute, though, because that would fucking suck and be more painful than anything else I've had to give up. But if that's what it means, then that's what it means. Because I am not going to get to the end of this life, whenever it may be, and realize that I did not accomplish the assignment. right? Which is like your therapist, excuse me, ill, judgmental. So I had to sit with that. So I was like, I need to step away for a minute, because if I'm supposed to give this up, then let me process that and let me prepare the people and get them used to not seeing me. So I'm on, I guess, something of a sadhana. I'm on this break. I'm reevaluating whether or not the way I'm living my life is in alignment with the life I want to have. I'm adjusting and I'm eliminating the things that are not. One of the things to go was retail at the shop, because I realized that selling candles to people that don't know what to do with them is not in alignment with my purpose of helping people on their spiritual journeys. So I'm sitting in meditation one morning. I'm getting all of these different signs. I'm being sent Bible verses. I'm being shown all these pages of people that are aligning themselves, not necessarily that are Christians, but that are aligning themselves with Jesus, with the Bible, with God. Not God of the Bible per se, though that is the iteration of God that they conceive of. But what Black Herman was helping me to understand was, like, really understand, because I've always said this. I've always said that the God of the Bible, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, is a trifecta deity. That's a deity of a certain religion, and there's capital G, God, above everybody's religion. I've always said that and understood it intellectually, but I don't know that I really was incorporating that in like a deep way and really connecting with capital G God and understanding that capital G God has been filtered through many different versions, many different iterations, many different avenues, and that the God of the Bible is one avenue, and that that avenue connects to something, and that that's something that I want. And therefore, a connection to God through that avenue is advantageous to me. JC and the Lord are down. Yeah. So I've been very much like, you know, so I've been very much like, oh, no, not going there, not going there. It's supposed to be bippity, boppity boo. Nisi says, as a Christian, people really forget that this walk deeply involves loving the Lord with all your heart, mind, and spirit, and love thy neighbor as thyself. Right. Very true. Yes. Right. Exactly. Capital G God. For real. And I've understood that. Like, I've said that to you guys many times, and I've always explained it. Like, I understood that intellectually. But there was a missing link for me. And the missing link was that if capital G God is out here and all of the different religions, deities are avenues, along those avenues, there are things that you experience. And each of those avenues is a little bit different. And if you want to experience the things in a particular avenue, you might need to go through that deity. And so I've been comfortable with the idea of working with Hecate in order to connect with poison plants and to connect with the underworld. And I've been okay with connecting with Legba for working with the dead and navigating the crossroads. And I've been okay with working with Shiva and connecting to Shiva and Shakti in order to understand my own masculine feminine balance, to understand yin and yang and the light and shadow aspects of myself. I've been able to connect with these deities and these avenues and experiencing the things along these avenues to capital G God, but I've been avoiding the Christ avenue. I've been avoiding the Christ avenue because of the poison corn. You know. Can I see you? No, you're not on the screen. Right. So I've been avoiding the Christ avenue, right? And what came through to me in this meditation was so freaking enlightening. What was explained to me as I sat there and I felt myself connecting with Jesus. And he said, and I'm trying to quote it as best I can. Obviously, it's not like words, but he basically said, I am the deity that came down to earth to be amongst humans, to help humans have the blessings of this earth. I came here to heal them of their pain, to grant them comfort. And Psalms 23 started to come to me as I was sitting there in this meditation. I came here to help you lay down in green pastures, to lay in abundance, to lay in peace, to not have a care in the world, to have all of your needs met, to not live a life of stress or worry, to live a life of faith, to know that everything you need is going to be provided for, so you don't have to work so hard. You don't have to figure out how to make it happen. You don't have to figure it out. I came here to help those who are willing to release and surrender to God's almighty power, my Father, capital G's almighty power, the peace and the prosperity and the health and the long life that they look for. That was like so huge. I was like, oh shit. It's like, you can work with all of these other deities, but I'm the one that does that. That's what I do. That's what I came here to do. That's what the human consciousness created me for. To end human suffering and to help human beings have peace and prosperity and long life. And I do that in exchange for your devotion and your faith, not to me. Everybody puts it on me. Oh, shit. Everybody puts it on me, you know, the Christians. But it's not me that I am teaching you to have faith in. Jesus never said, ever, have faith in me. He always said, have faith in God, my Father. And all of these things will be given to you. Where people decided to make me the God, that's the poison corn pushers. That's their interpretation that I never said. I said, have faith in my Father. Capital G, God. I also never said that I was him. I said that I am his son and we are all his children. And the only reason I was able to do things that the average person around me wasn't able to do was simply because they just didn't have as much faith as I did. But I recognized early on that if I put my unequivocal faith in God if I stepped out of the way and didn't try to figure things out, I just asked and knew in my heart that it would be done, it was done. And that was a profoundly eye-opening conversation. Profoundly eye-opening conversation. And several other Bible passages other than Psalm 23 have been shared with me by a few people. Heather, shout out to Heather, shared with me Jeremiah 29, 11 through 12. That also made me cry randomly in the shop the other day. Beyond what you told me, Heather, like in the moment that you shared it with me, it was so moving, but then it like really hit me like a ton of bricks. I'll tell you that in a second. Like a few days later, what that really means for me and why I needed to hear it. But when you look at Psalms 23, go with me, if you will, to your word. If you have your Bibles with you, please take out your Bible and flip with me to the word. Let's go to the word. So I'm not sitting here trying to paraphrase. Shall we? Let's go to the word. Okay, let's go to Psalm 23. Okay. He says, and remember, this is Psalms 23. This is written by King David. He's not talking about Jesus. He's talking about God. Capital G, God. Okay? He said, the Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. I shall not want. That's it. Period. Period. There is nothing that I will want for. There is no lack that I will experience if I follow him, if I have faith in him, if I allow him to lead me. He makes me to lie down in green pastures, leads me beside the still waters. He gives me abundance and he gives me peace. He restores my soul. He'll heal me from my pain. Okay. He leads me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. He will keep me treating people well. Okay. And doing well in the world. Even if I'm walking in the valley of the shadow of death, even if I'm about to die, I will not be afraid. And there will be no evil that will scare me, because I know that God is with me, and just knowing that he is there is going to bring me comfort, which means sickness will not afflict me. It means the fear of death will not afflict me. It means the fear of other people being able to harm me will not afflict me. Because even though I know that those things are there and are a part of human reality, because I have unwavering faith in God, it does not matter. They exist, but I don't need to fear them, because I will be comforted by my faith, not in Jesus, but in God. A table will be prepared for me to enjoy my most bountiful blessings right in front of the people who tried to take that away from me, right in front of the people who prayed for me to fail, who wanted to see me stay poor and impoverished and without. I will be anointed with oil, which, as I was doing some research back in those times, was a part of the cleansing ritual of how you cleanse yourself. The way we might take a shower, put on perfume and deodorant, they would bathe and put oil on themselves to cleanse themselves. So I'm going to be clean, so fresh and so clean. Okay. My cup runneth over. I will have more than I need, so that, going back to the part about walking in righteousness, I can share it with other people, because that's what God instructs. Goodness and mercy will be with me forever. No matter where I go in life, good things will happen to me. I will get the benefit of the doubt from people. People will look over me. I will be excused. I will be given advantages. I will be granted mercy. I will not be punished for mistakes that I make that other people maybe get punished for. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen. I saw this passage so differently. Hard stop. I shall not want. Period. Hard stop. Jesus said, if you put your faith and surrender in complete devotion and prayer to capital G, God, you will get the things that were explained to us in the early days when these covenants, and my hoodoo teacher, Brother Moses, always explained the book of Psalms, in particular, the Bible in general, but it's particularly the book of Psalms, are covenants. They are promises that God made to people about what would happen and what he would do if they lived their lives in certain ways. Not Jesus, not lowercase trifecta deity, not any church, not capital G God, the energy that has created everything, the thing that all religions aim to try to reach. If you put your faith in that, you will have all the things that are promised. And every deity is a different batch of promises, a different batch of covenants. And these are the covenants that you get in the Jesus batch. Jesus said, this is what I came to help people understand. That these are the things, if you listen to me, thank you. If you listen to me and you take this path to capital G God, these are the things that you will get. This is why it seems like so many people that align themselves with Jesus are so abundant, are at peace, are doing so well. It is because this is the particular covenant that I have been a part of. I was sent here for alleviating human suffering and for granting prosperity, abundant tables, vengeance on your enemies who try to get you down. You will come out on top. You will live without not like no stress, but like you will have peace. You will not be worried. You will not be wanting. And that is the reality that I want for myself. I want abundance. I want peace. I am creating a table, and I am doing it my way in front of people who would want to see me fail because I'm not doing it their way. And Jesus said, I got you. That's what I do. Don't listen to the poison corn pushers. It's not about me. It's about my Father, your Father, all of ours, Creator, capital G God. And you are not putting faith in him, her, it, they, she. You are not putting faith in the Creator. You are trying to make abundance for yourself. You are trying to make peace for yourself. You are trying to put everything on the table for yourself instead of sitting back and asking for what you want, realizing that capital G, the Creator, is not going to leave you wanting for anything, and you will have it. And that was huge. And I guess I needed to kind of take it for a test run a little bit. And I did on my birthday. And the way I got the answer was amazing because it was instantaneous, but also amazing because it was involving sex outside of marriage, which is something that the poison corn pushers would have you to believe is going to keep you away from capital G God, when that is not the case. Yeah, not quite. Right, exactly. Yeah, you don't sound like a poison corn pusher at all. Exactly. Exactly. And I was definitely walking by sight. You know, if I work with this saint, I can do this. And if I do this, I'll do this. If I leave these offerings, I'll do this. And if I do that, and if I do that, da, 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 da. And there wasn't anything like inherently wrong with these things. It is nice to have relationships with these different saints, with the different spirits, with the energies of different plants. Those things were informative and helpful for me. They do serve a role. They were all given to us as tools. They are helpful. But I think I was putting those things in place of God. And I put this in my caption the other day on one of my posts. I was thanking the lavender for its healing property instead of thanking God for giving us lavender and the wisdom to use it. And so that's where the shift happens. Okay? That's where the shift happened for me. That I was like, I see. I see. I wasn't going all the way to the top and realizing what is responsible for making all of this happen. So here's the little test that I guess I unconsciously went through. Still trying to figure out the polygamy in the good Bible. Polygamy was all up and down in the Bible. That was a cultural thing. I would agree with that. I would agree with that too. So it's my birthday weekend, August 9th. Okay. And I was planning on keeping it low. Speaking of, I just got a message from my homeboy Perrin here, who staycation folks, you'll meet Perrin. And I was planning on keeping it low for my birthday. And Perrin said, absolutely not. You are going to go out. And I was like, listen, I appreciate it, appreciate the sentiment, but I got a lot going on right now. My closest friends, my dearest friends that have been my friends for 25 something years, I told them we're going to celebrate in September. I just saw them this week for my birthday because I was like, I have so much going on. I'm not even gonna hold y'all. I'm not gonna even try to put anything together right now. I don't want y'all to try to put anything together right now. It's just not a good time. So I sent them a save the date. I said September 9th. Give me 30 days. We'll do something. But I'm not doing anything. My plan was to go to the beach by myself. And then Perrin had told me about Friday nights at the Victoria restaurant at the Harlem Renaissance. And had been talking it up. And I said, you know what? Nuri's going to be watching the shop that day. I'm going to go to the beach. I'm going to have a me day. And then I'm going to come home and change. And I will come meet you for R&B night. Because Perrin's been telling me about, like, you've got to come here to network. There's so many great people, so many other Black entrepreneurs. This would be a great place for you to meet like-minded people, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what? I know that I do need to do that I would benefit immensely from doing that. So I was like, okay, you know what? I don't mind going out. We'll have a little dinner. We'll listen to some music. I'll, maybe have a cocktail or two. And then I'm taking my butt home. And he was like, no, you're not. And I was like, I said I'm going home. This man went and booked me a room at the hotel. Said, you're staying here tonight. And I thought he booked it for the both of us. I thought that he was like, okay, we're gonna get lit and we're gonna crash at the hotel. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm too old for telly parties. But like, okay. And he goes, no, no, no. This is for you. I'm not staying. I'm going home. You are staying here. I want you to soak up this energy. I want you to stay in a luxury hotel. I want you to wake up in the morning and come have brunch here under the chandeliers. I want you to immerse yourself in the world that you say you want to be in and just soak up this energy and see what it does for you. Every time I see you, you are in this shop. You've been in this shop every day, 12 hours a day for the last 3 straight years. I literally, other than the staycation, never see you outside of the shop. Get out of the shop, and the world, the life that you're creating for yourself is not you in the shop forever, right? You want to be somewhere else, so go do that. And I was like, wow, that's a huge gesture. Okay, yes, I will, absolutely. So I did. We stayed in the restaurant. We listened to live music, chumming it up with the managers and everything. They sent over some drinks, Then we go upstairs. Next thing you know, I'm giving them a tarot reading at 2 a.m. And we had a good time. But the night ended late and I was tired. I woke up the next day and I was like, I love it here. I really want to stay here. I also didn't get to do any of the work that I had planned to do that night. And I was like, well, I feel like I need to work on this project here. And I thought about it and I was like, let me check in. I pull out my tarot cards. I go to my guides and I was like, I'm thinking about staying here another night. Like, what's the energy around that? And what's the energy around going to the shop to go open it up today? And all I saw around going to the shop was stagnation and continuation of a lot of the same struggles. And what I saw around staying at the hotel was opportunity and new insights and new experiences and new people. So I got online to check the prices. They weren't as bad as I thought. They were like half what parents spent for me the first night. I said, okay, I'm going to do this. And I shut down. I said, I'm not opening the shop. I got online. I posted about it. I turned off the Google hours, whatever. And I booked me another night at the hotel. And I spent the afternoon in my room writing, working on projects that are underway that Coven knows about, but the rest of y'all will find out when you are supposed to. And then I was like, okay, well, something is calling me to go out into Harlem during the day, get out. And I start walking and I ran into some street fairs, some pop-ups. I met probably 20 different vendors that I gave my information to about tea and tarot. Something that never would have happened if I'd opened up the shop. If I'd opened up the shop, there's no way 20 different vendors would have walked in that day, but I made 20 different business connections just on my stroll through Harlem. And the next thing you know, I find myself on 135th Street and I'm standing in front of Abyssinian Baptist Church, which is the church that Black Herman used to go to when he was here, the most prominent church in Harlem. And I said, wow, okay, interesting. This walk led me right up to Abyssinian. And then I realized I was just 2 blocks away from Black Herman's house. So I walked back down to Black Herman's house. And as I'm walking, I purchased a few things because I was like, well, if I'm going to stay here another night and I'm going to go out again, like I didn't bring enough clothes for 2 nights. So I need an outfit. So I buy a couple of things. I support some of the vendors. And I was like, I need a bottom. I need pants. I need a skirt, shorts, something to wear on the bottom. And I want to keep supporting local vendors. I don't want to go into an H&M or a Gap or something like that. I want to keep supporting local vendors. And I got to the corner of the hotel. And I was like, damn, nobody was selling any bottoms. The little African shops, nobody had any bottoms that I could buy. And I was like, am I really about to go into like the Gap right now? Like that doesn't feel, that's not what I'm trying to do. That's not what I'm trying to do. And as I'm thinking that, oh, my light just died. As I'm thinking that, I get to the corner of 125th Street. Wait, hold on. Let me turn this way. So y'all are not all up in my business. Okay. You guys see my booty cheeks? My apologies if I flashed anyone my booty cheeks. Okay. Okay, here we go. All right. So I get to the corner of 125th Street. Good night, Heather. And I come across a statue of Adam Clayton Powell. And I've walked by this corner many, many times, but I've never noticed it. And it says, keep the faith at the bottom. And I didn't know that he had given a big, like, keep the faith speech at some point. And no flashing, just my tattoo. Okay, good. So I was like, wow, okay, keep the faith, keep the faith. I turn onto the block where my hotel is, and standing right in front of my hotel is this guy, black guy, selling jewelry and perfumes, which there's a lot of these in Harlem, but this was the only one on this strip of block, and he was right in front of my hotel, and he happened to have dresses and pants, like handmade cotton, stuff. And I went, and he like talked me into buying a pair that at first I was like, well, I don't think they're going to fit, and the price is a little too high. And he was like, I'll give it to you for 20 and you could get a free bracelet. So I ended up walking away with an Ankh bracelet and these pants. And I get upstairs and I realize that the pants are the exact same colors as the t-shirt that I had bought at the other stand. So it ended up being a perfect outfit. Keep the faith. So I eat a little, I get dressed. You did? Yeah, I walked by it plenty of times, but I never read the base of it. I never noticed that it said keep the faith. Did you go to the Victoria for lunch? I'm obsessed with it. It's my favorite place now. So I'm afraid when it becomes popular, it won't be as cool. But right now, it's like a if you know kind of place. So I'm like, okay. Oh, you did? Isn't it amazing? You have to stay in the hotel one night. Treat yourself to a night in the hotel and have the season is over, but definitely do it when they reopen the rooftop. Friday nights, the rooftop. Woo, it's so fun. The most amazing views of the city you'll ever want to see. So I have dinner. I meet up with Perrin at this thing called the Soapbox, and it's a block party. The whole block is shut down. They're doing live music. ASAP Ferg was like the surprise guest. Like, it's a blast. We're having fun. We're drinking nutcrackers. Like, the vibes are immaculate. Everybody's gorgeous. Like, it was just such an incredible vibe. And I'm sitting there, and I prayed to God directly. No spirit, no anything. I just to God directly. And I said, God, I know I said that I wanted to wrap up the night early because last night was late. And I wanted to go back to my room to write and to work. But that's not really what I want to do. That's what I feel like I should do. But that's not really what I want to do. What I want to do is I want to meet somebody attractive in this crowd of beautiful people. And I want them to come back with me to my hotel room. And I want to have a good time with somebody. Because I've been going through a divorce. It's been 4 years since I've slept with anyone. And that's what I really want. And as I'm praying this prayer, this guy stands in front of me with his back to me. And it turns out that he was out by himself. He just came out to enjoy the event. And he was walking through the crowd trying to find a good spot to like settle. And next to us was the person selling nutcrackers, drinks in a cooler. So because she had the cooler, there was kind of a little pocket of space around us because people were trying not to block the cooler. And so that gave him a perfect opportunity to find a place to stop. So he stopped and stood in front of me, not really thinking about me. I'm not really thinking about him. He just stopped there. And he's watching the performance with his back to me. So I don't see him. And he says later that he overheard us talking about how we're from the Bronx because we're in the stories, we're posting, Bronx is in the house, we at the block party, doing internet shit. And he overheard us, and he's from the Bronx too. What are the chances, right? Down in Harlem, and this guy from the Bronx. This girl walks through the crowd, and she was super, super pretty. And I don't know, the lights of heaven were like shining down on her. Like this is very naturally beautiful girl walked by, and she caught my attention, and I'd had a drink at this point. So I was kind of loose lips. And as she walks by, I said out loud, "Oh my God, you're so pretty." Out loud. And all the people around us like laughed because like they, I guess, had seen her too. And were like, "Hey, yeah, oh my God, she's so pretty." And the guy finally turns around to look up at me, and he's like, "Yeah, she is, right? Like, I noticed that too." And that was the first time we made eye contact. And after that, it was just like he was a part of our crew. All of a sudden, he's talking to Perrin, he's talking to the 2 girls that Perrin invited, or the 3 girls. And all of a sudden, now we're just like a group. The event ends, people start clearing out, and all like 5, 6 of us are still just talking. And I'm sitting on the stoop. At this point, I've had 2 nutcrackers, which because I don't drink as much anymore was enough for me to be like tipsy. I had on heels, and I'm like 2 feet in the air on this stoop. And I started to try to hop down myself. And I was like, ooh, I should not do that. And I was like, ooh, guys, I think I'm going to need help. And he goes and just like scoops me up and lowers me to the ground with such ease. And I was just like, hello. And I hit the ground, and I look up, and from where I was sitting, I was up above him. So I could not tell what his height was from where I was sitting. But he puts me down on the ground, and I look up, and I realize that he's like towering over me. And I'm like, oh shit, how tall are you? And he goes, 6'2". I was like, you know how it is. No offense to my short kings, but you have a guy pick you up, put you down, and then you realize he's 6 something. It's gonna do something to you every time. Okay. I was like, oh, nice to meet you. For real. What'd you say your name was? So we start walking back to the hotel, and I link arms with him like an idiot. I'm like, this one's mine. So we go back to the hotel. We're at the bar. Everybody's hanging out. We're having bar bites. I order a bunch of drinks because at this point now I'm tipsy for real. And I'm like, let's get 7 pack of cranberries and a shot. Like, and I'm going to pay for it because I'm that girl who, when she starts drinking, wants to buy everybody shots. So I'm like, everybody should get a drink and we should go up to my room. Okay. So I'm like, bartender, before you close, can you make us a round of drinks in plastic cups? We're going to go up to my room. And this man reaches over when the bill comes for the food and the drinks that everybody had, and he takes the bill. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. No. I ordered all those drinks, and also me and Perrin, everybody's food's on that bill. And he's like, I know. Pays for it. 6'2", dark skin, good looking, strong. And you pay tax. God answers prayers, y'all. Okay. I said, my God, this is what you were talking about? That I shall not want? This is what you meant? Okay. This is what he meant in Psalms 23 when he said, thou shalt not want. Period. I said, my God, today answers prayers. Okay. And I'm being a little silly about it, but it really genuinely was exactly that. It really genuinely was exactly that. So after we go up to the room, everybody's hanging out for a while. I think, everybody in the room, everybody's grown. So everybody kind of caught the drift, like, well, we should go ahead and peace on out. Let Allie have her room. This, new friend that we've made. So everybody leaves. And he stays and we have a merry old time. And my original intention was to have a merry old time. And then tell him to go kick rocks because I don't spend the evening with people I don't know. We're not doing that. We're not a couple. But I felt really, really comfortable. Right? Right. He was making me want, and then taking the want away because he said, wait a minute, but you shall not. Made me want, and then took care of it because thou shalt not. Mm-hmm. Yes. And that was my original plan, was to kick him out. But I felt really comfortable. I had a really great time. He's 40, so he's grown up like me. And we had grown up conversations and we had a grown up good time. Two adults that know what they like, what they don't like, what they're into, what they're not into, are able to clearly communicate their desires. And we had some great conversation beforehand, laid some ground rules down, got to know each other really quickly, and then had a very wonderful, consensual, clear, communicative time. It was fabulous. Fabulous. And I went to sleep. And when I woke up, he was leaving. He had work, so did I. He was leaving. And I said goodbye. He, went on about his day. And I looked at my phone, and I had a text message from Perrin that said, it was at like 5:30 in the morning, but I must have been sleeping or maybe not sleeping. I don't know. But Perrin had texted me at 5:30 in the morning and said, don't kick him out. He is a gift from God. Mind you, I have not had an opportunity to tell Perrin or anybody the story about my prayer. It had just happened. We were all hanging out. Things hadn't played out yet. I had not had an opportunity to tell anybody that I literally prayed, not for this man specifically, but that I prayed to have this experience, and it was instantly given to me. And I have this message from parents saying, don't kick him out. He's a gift from God. A birthday gift from God. Not that he's a gift from God. Let's not gas this man's head up. He's a birthday gift from God. And I was like, that's crazy. Perrin has no idea that I asked for this, that I prayed for this. Yes. And so that was powerful. There is hope. There is prayer. There is prayer. That is the reason why I don't say I hope. If you guys get emails and stuff from me, you will see that I say, oh, I pray you're having a good day. I don't like hope. Hope is so helpless. prayer is not. It's active. It's having faith and then doing the work to prepare for the thing that you asked for. And I was prepared for the things that I asked for because, believe it or not, this might be TMI, but I went all natural like 4 years ago when I asked for the divorce from my husband. I went natural with my hair. I went natural with my whole body. Okay. No more shaving, no more any of that. So your girl was out the bush, literally. There was a lot of bush. And the week before my birthday, I decided to treat myself and kind of start fresh. So I got a massage from Fox, who's a Coven member. Shout out to Fox. You guys get massages from Fox. Incredible. And I got waxed by my girl Naomi, the owner of Luna Lavage. She came through and gave me a wax, underarms and, in the chocha. And I guess a part of me was preparing for some birthday festivities because I did the work. I was ready for what I was asking for. I sure was. And I got it. So I felt like God was letting me know in that moment, like, no, it really can be that easy. Like, you're the one that's making it hard. You're the one that's making things difficult by thinking that you have to figure all of this out. I told you I will lay you by still waters. I will get rid of your want for things. I will make sure that you are comforted and you are secure. You have to have faith that I am going to do these things for you, that I'm going to send you what you ask for. Yeah, it's a beautiful way to put it. I was anointed is right. In many ways. But yeah, that's the anointing with the oil, right? Preparing your body. Oh my God, yes. Preparing your body. Okay. And yeah, it was huge. It was huge. Very, very huge. So I had that prayer 1819 approved for my husband. Everything I asked for. Yeah, facts, right? I could see that happening too. But yeah. So anyway, that's my reconnection with Christ. Understanding now that I was avoiding him because of religious trauma, and that by doing so, I was blocking, or at least not allowing myself to access a certain category of blessings that he is specifically aligned with, that he is a path, that the path through him is like sprinkled with, I guess you would say. And that having faith in Christ isn't the point. Having faith in God is, and through Christ, certain things can be received on that journey to God, but that the faith is not in him, it's in God. And that having faith in God looks a certain way. It's about surrender, and that all of the things that I do as a practitioner, I do because God has made it so. And I can do because God has made it so. That I can heal myself with herbs, that I can cleanse myself with waters, that I like energetically, spiritually, that I can call in love, romance, money, that I can speak to spirits of the dead or to angels or to guides, that all of these things that I do as a witch, I am able to do because God has created this complex yet simple, beautiful, energetic bubble called existence. And I get to be in it and play in it and have whatever parts of it I want for myself. And that as long as I understand who is responsible for it and have faith in that, then I can have it all. And yeah, so, you know, does this mean I'm going to be sitting in church on Sunday mornings? Probably not. And I tested that theory because I felt called to go to Abyssinian, and my plan was to go and sit in the congregation. I was going to go and sit at a pew and see what messages came through, see what I felt, and I got there and it was closed, which I thought was so interesting because I feel like church is never really closed. There's always stuff going on in a church, like during the day, and it was a Saturday. So I was like, y'all don't have Saturday service? Y'all don't got food drive, clothing giveaway? You don't have some Saturday choir rehearsals not going on? It's a Saturday afternoon. My church would have been open on a Saturday afternoon. So I was like, well, what is going on? We always had choir rehearsal on Saturday afternoons. Church was always open. Somebody was in the church somewhere. So all the gates were locked. All the doors were closed. And I was like, okay, I was not called here to go into the church. I'm not being called to church, but I am being called to heal my relationship with Jesus, because there are things that he is associated with in this human existence that I want, that I can have through him. So, yeah, so you won't be seeing me at church necessarily. Too many poison corn pushers up in there. But you might see me referring to Jesus more often. You might see me calling on him more often. You might see me talking about the Bible more often, about prayer more often. You might see me exploring this relationship. And because I'm really transparent and share as much of my practice with you guys as I can, in the hopes that it might help you with your own journeys, you might see that happening. So, you know, heads up. Your girl is not becoming a poison corn pusher, but I am healing my relationship with Jesus and really learning a lot. And shout out to Black Herman, who I have come to think of as a guide, because he really is the catalyst for this, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, maybe it's a post-COVID thing, you know. A lot of places had to close down and stuff like that, so maybe things are a little bit different. But back in the day when I went to church, I felt like my church was always open. You could pop by at any time, and if people weren't upstairs, they would be downstairs doing other stuff. Facts. That's right. Two or more gathered in his name, right? We came here under this live called Reconnecting with Christ. That's right. So yeah, that's the journey to a renewed relationship with Christ and how I've gotten there and what it's been doing for me so far. Tomorrow, I will be giving a lecture at HQ on overcoming religious trauma. So I'll be talking not about this relationship with Christ part, but specifically talking about the religious trauma that I am realizing that I was still carrying all these many years that was preventing me from having a relationship with Christ. So I'm going to be talking about what religious trauma is, how to identify it, how because I've had several people that I've invited to the lecture say, "Oh, I don't think I have any religious trauma. I didn't grow up in the church, or I didn't grow up in such and such." And I think that's great for them if they don't actually. But I also thought I wasn't dealing with religious trauma, and it turns out, yes, I absolutely was, big time. Now, I did grow up in the church, but my church experiences as a child weren't really the problem. It's the interactions that I've had with so-called Christians since leaving the church that have hurt me the deepest and caused the most amount of trauma. And so I don't think you have to grow up in a religious household to have the untoward practices and behaviors of the religious fanatics to make an impression on your life that might be pushing you away from things. I'm sure there are plenty of people who are not interested in witchcraft, but still feel really triggered or uncomfortable at the idea of prayer, even talking about God, saying the word God, saying the word Jesus, reading a Bible passage. I'm sure there are plenty of people who did not grow up in the church, but if you told them to say a prayer to Jesus, would be like, no, thanks, that's not for me. Why not? Could it be because of what you have experienced from the corn pushers that have made you turned off from that idea? And it's really interesting because I tell you this much: the Christians have terrible PR. I don't know who their PR people are, but they need to get that shit in check, because they do a really great job of turning people off from Christ. They force it on as many people as they can, but they would probably do a much better job if, instead of forcing it, they actually connected with him for real and lived their life from the place of unconditional love that he vibrates in, because more people would have less distasteful feelings around him if it weren't for the horrible example that so many Christians make. So I would imagine same queer witch, right? We've got multiple reasons for the corn pushers to target us. Yeah, I ordered a cross. Believe it or not. There is a woman-owned business on Instagram that came across my screen and that called to me. It's called Rethrive Designs, and it is a woman that cares for her mentally ill husband. She's the caregiver for her husband. And for the last 15 years, she has had a business, and she repurposes guitar strings into jewelry. And this cross piece that she has caught my eye. And it's made with pieces of guitar string and semi-precious stones in resin, I think, in like a stainless steel, like chain kind of thing. And it's handmade, so I've had to wait for a while for it to get here. But I think it's on its way. And yeah, I'm excited to wear it. And I'm sure I'll have a bunch of poison corn pushers in my fucking comments if I post with it, because I had some dumb bitch the other day because I put in my bio my favorite Bible verse. When I was a kid, I used to repeat it to myself over and over and over again. But Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I found myself calling on Christ for strength, and remembered that that Bible verse was my favorite as a child. And I was like, oh, wow. I pushed, again, trauma. I pushed that away. But as a child, it used to give me so much comfort and used to strengthen me and encourage me to be strong at times when I felt weak. And I pushed that Bible verse away because of the trauma of religion. And I said, wait a minute, no, fuck you guys. That verse used to give me strength. Absolutely. I'm taking that back. I want that. Forget what you guys say. So I put it in my Bible verse, and then I had some dumb bitch being like, Bible verses in your bio, and yet your entire page is against Christianity. And my response was, yep, welcome to my page. Because the Bible was written hundreds of years before Christianity was created, you dumb bitch. So yeah, absolutely. I have Bible verses in my bio, and I'm against Christianity because it's kind of a dumb religion, and the people who follow it are assholes. But Christ has nothing to do with that. He's like, I never created that religion. I never said pray to me. I said pray to my Father. So, yeah, I imagine if I wear it, I'll get some more of that nonsense. But I do not. I do not. I don't know what these people be expecting. I think because I like talk in a low whisper over like melodic music in my reels, that they get the impression that I am particularly nice, and I am not. I am kind, but there is nothing about me that is nice. I have to remind people from time to time that the Bronx and BronxWitch comes first. I'm not the witch of the Bronx. I'm the Bronx witch. I will remind you, I am from the Bronx. Don't get the whispery videos and the low lights confused. So I get these people on the internet, I think, thinking that there's like a sweet and quiet, something behind those posts. Absolutely not. I will hurt your feelings really badly. Yeah, somebody came into the shop the other day and was working on making a handmade rosary for themselves from rose petals. It's such a cool craft. Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to show it off. Yeah, if you look it up, you can see you can make your own rosaries with rose petals. Yeah, June dropped the instructions. Sometimes you got to remind people. Sometimes you got to remind people that they forget. You know what I'm saying? Because of my posts are all melodic and stuff. And I have to remind people. I am mixed with 163rd Street in the Grand Concourse. Okay, my grandparents are Fordham Road and Yankee Stadium. I carry a box cutter on me at all times. I will hurt you. I will hurt you. So, and internet fights are my favorite. I always have the time. So, yeah. So, that's that, you all. I pray this conversation was helpful, inspiring, informative, healing for all of the witches out there that also feel themselves avoiding Christ, avoiding the Bible, avoiding prayer because of what those who have decided to wield those things like weapons have done or said to us. I pray that this is healing for you guys. And if you're in the New York City area and want to come to a lecture on overcoming religious trauma, I am giving one at my shop HQ tomorrow from 5 to 7 p.m. It is a 21 and older event, as we will be serving wine. Your ticket gets you in the door, as well as a complimentary glass of wine, or for those of you who don't drink, a bottle of water or a can of soda. So we also have non-alcoholic options for folks. And yeah, it's going to be a good time. The lecture will be live streamed to the Coven. So Coven Witches, if you're not local or if you're not able to make it or just not interested in coming, you can watch the lecture portion of the evening live in the Coven. It will be streamed. I got to go reset the stream now because I fucked around and joined it. But yeah, that will be happening. And after the lecture ends at about 6:30. And then we will have about 30 minutes or so for folks to mingle and chat with each other. I will also be opening up the back room where the inventory is stored for folks that maybe want to shop and grab some of the last few items that we have in our regular retail inventory. And then we'll be wrapping up, and I got to get out of HQ at least by 8 o'clock. Nuri has to leave early, so I'm not going to have her help to close up as I had hoped. And we have Witches of Color support group at 10 o'clock. So I got to get out of there by like 8. So I'm going to be trying to wrap us up, but I do want to give people a chance to grab some things if they want. So come on by. Tickets are still available. You can get the tickets at BronxWitch.com under the events tab. You'll see all the events going on at the shop that are already on the calendar for the fall, and you'll be able to get your tickets for tomorrow there. Please do get your tickets in advance. It's going to be busy tomorrow. It's our first lecture, new space, new layout, and all of that good stuff. So having us sell tickets at the event, it is possible. But if you want to help us out, make things a little bit easier for us, please do buy your ticket online before you come, and then we'll be good. All right. Yes, please make one now and show us. Thank you. High teas, love it. Love me high teas. I look forward to this every month. Stay tuned for updates on next month's topic. Okay, I'm excited to see what that is. I don't even know right now yet, but there's some I am going to be dropping some posts because after the Usher concert, I was live for a brief moment on Instagram. You know, I don't really go live over there, but I was live for a brief moment on Instagram, and I was telling people how I manifested the Usher experience, my VIP entrance, like the whole night, my outfit, all of it. And someone was like, "Oh, what's the difference between manifesting and spellcasting?" And I was breaking it down, and they were like, "Wow, that is the best explanation of the difference I've ever heard. Like, that makes perfect sense." And I realized that online people use the two interchangeably a lot, and it might be confusing. So I want to teach a webinar on the difference between manifesting and spellcasting. But I'm going to drop some posts with some polls and stuff like that to see if people would be interested in that. So if I do a webinar on that topic, I might talk about it as a high tea live as well. And not give the whole webinar necessarily, but I might talk a little bit about manifestation. Oh no, I know what our high tea is going to be. Hello, because we've done this 3 years now. This might be the 4th year. It's going to be the October one. Who knows what October's high tea is going to be? Especially because I just gave a hint about manifesting. Who of the OGs knows what the October high tea is going to be? It's been the same thing for the last few years. It's got to be the same thing, especially now. I have so many things that have come to be. And that'll be perfect to pair up with a webinar on manifesting versus spellcasting. Any guesses? I'll give you guys like a minute to guess. Yes! Nisi got it! I always do vision boards for the high tea in October because Samhain time is when I make my vision board for the next year. Okay, I get a jump start. I don't wait till December, honey, to start new. I need to plan it out before the hibernation period so I can visualize what my year is going to be. Then I rest. And then I get up Imulk February and I'm ready to start making it happen. Yes, period. It's vision board live. Okay. Ooh, that's perfect. Oh my God, that is so perfect. Okay, so first of all, I hope you guys vote yes, that you do want me to teach a webinar on manifestation and spellcasting, because I do want to talk about it. Webinars are free for Coven members at the dedicant level. Okay. But they'll still be available to you guys, but they're free for folks at the dedicant level. And I would love to do that. But either way, High Tea Live in October is going to be our yearly vision board making session. So I will be recapping last year's vision board. We'll be checking off all of the things that came to be, and there are many. And then we will be making our vision board for the next wheel around the sun or what have you. So if you want to prepare for this, first of all, get on my mailing list. Link down in the description. Get on my mailing list. If you are on the mailing list for my shop, that is not my mailing list. If you're getting emails about classes in the portal, you're getting emails about sales, you're getting emails about, reservations at the shop, that is not my mailing list. My mailing list emails have a purple background, light purple background. Okay. Get on my mailing list, because in the weeks before that live, I'm going to be sending you tips on things to prepare if you want to also make your vision board at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to be sending you links to the last couple of years' lives. I'm going to be sending you lists of materials that you should gather for yourselves, things that you should plan. Do not wait until the day you want to make your vision board to plan your vision board. That's the biggest mistake people make. You plan ahead and then you actually make the board then. Okay, but you're going to want to plan ahead. So I'm going to send you emails on how to plan ahead, what materials you want to have, what game plan you want to give yourself, so that you can actually make your vision board at the same time. Otherwise, if you don't care to do so, you just want to watch it, you can just watch me make mine. Okay. All right, witches. I am out of here. Oh, I totally forgot to put this up. I'm leaving now, so it's late. But just a reminder for anybody that was watching on YouTube, if you're watching the replay and you're wondering how in the world are people getting into the stream room? How are they able to ask questions and comments? How are they getting their questions and comments up on the screen? Why does Allie seem to not be addressing the people over on YouTube? That is because High Tea Live is a Coven exclusive live stream. We have many exclusive virtual events for our Coven members. This is just one of them. It happens every month. I do them around the full moon. And the purpose of it is to sit and talk about magic, get your questions answered. And we always have some topic or craft or project that we work on, so we can kind of keep the conversation organized or what have you. So if you want to be in the stream room next time for our vision board making, and I might pull some of you up on the screen to show your vision boards if you want, because that's a new feature from StreamYard. I can actually pull you guys up onto the screen, which is cool. Then you definitely want to get in the stream room, and you can do that by joining the Coven, which is down below. There's 2 different tiers of membership. Either tier of membership is going to give you access to the next High Tea Live. If you have personal questions about magic, personal questions about your own relationship with Christ, your own religious trauma, or anything else, if you feel like you need a reading from me, maybe want to take some classes or get some coaching, then the first place to start is by getting a consultation with me. Consultations are 15 minutes long. They're only $25, and that $25 gets credited to the class, reading, coaching session, or whatever it is that you decide you want to get, if you decide you want to do anything further with me after the consultation. So start there, book a consultation with me so we can talk about your personal journey, because I am here to help baby witches become better witches. Yes. All right, you guys, BronxWitch.com is where you can go for everything. Click on the Connect with Allie tab. That's where you can find everything, or you can check the description at the bottom of this video over on YouTube. And I will see you all in the next one. And I'll see some of you tomorrow at the lecture. So have a great night. Bye. Blessed be.